Hey everybody, it's me, Lance, my Stranded Viking. I have been meaning to do this video for a little while now, mostly because the D&D campaign that I'm running right now, we went through this kind of dungeon zine, what have you, and while the players may end up going back there at some point, for the most part they explored most of what this particular dungeon has to offer. So this is, as you can see from the front, it is the Cloister of the Frog God. And it has this thing where it says EMDT 91, and it has the first, if you read that, First Hungarian D20 Society. So these zines, and there's many of them, have been published and written by, and it's like, it says Gabor Lux, or if you have that right there. And basically everything that this company and this person puts out is a gold mine for ideas, and a gold mine for helping DMs run really fun adventures that have a lot of like in-depth stuff going on in them, but also gives you a lot of free reign to make it your own, which is something that I did with this. I ran my players through this. They were probably a little bit too low level to do it, but they managed to get through it okay. I did pull my punches a little bit, but they managed to infiltrate this cloister of this evil god. They started off by like just talking to the cultists that were located within the cloister, and then actually undertook a mission for them, because the way the cloister works out is there's an area that's unexplored, and there's an area where the monks live, the evil monks. And the evil monks want somebody to go to the spot where they don't reside, because there's a monster in there. And there's gonna be a lot of spoilers here, so if you're listening to this and you think, oh hey, maybe my DM should pick up this zine and run us through it, then stop or don't. But obviously if you go in with the spoilers, and you know, that's kind of cheating. But anyway, regardless, so there's basically this demonic invisible stalker that got summoned by accident, and it has been killing any of the monks that wander over into the other area. Underneath the cloister is an expansive, and I do mean expansive, dungeon that after your players kind of run around up top for a little bit, and once they start going into the basements and start going through the tunnels, they are going to find tons of things to do. It probably took us a total of 12 to 14 hours of playing over 3 sessions to get through this entire this little zine. This how many pages is this? This 38-page zine, which it has a lot of stuff that isn't actually in the dungeon. Like they have backgrounds for a couple, like like it says here, like the marshlands. It tells you how people can travel there. It gives some backgrounds for the cities that they travel through. It gives kind of a really rudimentary overland map right there for the marshlands, and has some points of interest so that you can have like kind of a point-to-point adventure if you're familiar with those. It dives into notable NPCs that they can talk to, and so on and so forth. You don't actually, until you have to get to about the 13th, 14th page of the zine before you actually get to the Cloister of the Frogmen. So the way I ran it is they had green, kind of putrid green robes, and everybody wore a mask. so you couldn't really tell who or what they were. They were very, very peaceful until they were attacked. I did it to just kind of keep the players on their toes. So it didn't just devolve into a, hey, let's just run in there and kill everybody type of thing. When they first approached, they were like, oh, hello, how are you? It's like, pilgrims, we're so glad to see you. Please come in, and then have like wonderful discussions and because like I had the monastery being, they saw anybody who comes and visits them as not as looking at them as like a meal. I looked at them as possible members that could join their particular religion, and so they wanted to greet them and be kind and have them join, and it was very fun. I mean, they had a lot of interactions with the different NPCs, and eventually it devolved down the path of having to fight it out. But for a while, it did look like they were going to be able to figure out how to coexist, if you will. But eventually they discovered that yes, they were doing human sacrifices, and the paladin just couldn't put up with that. So everything kind of went a keister to that. What I really liked about it was, like I said, it's very open. It has a lot of cool things going on. They take a great deal of time to describe a few of the different major NPCs, but it doesn't tell you basically this is how this is going to act, this is how this is going to act, and I just let the players have some fun with it. I mean, there's cool art, like the classic gelatinous cube there. There's some cool art to be found within it, but there's like a green robe man walking down these old tunnels. I just like that picture for some reason. Just wandering down there and seeing what they can see. There is a lot of really, really weird stuff down below. Ancient tombs with like horrible things that you shouldn't bother, if you will. There was a couple of moments where they got people, like, of course, because of like spells that caused confusion and fear, players ended up apart from each other, and that was a really, really fun moment because, as I said, the dungeon is expansive. So they do. I'll say this: if you getting a hold of these, you can get them directly from the First Hungarian Society. I have found a couple places online. There is a, and I don't, I'm not sponsored by these people in any way, shape, or form. I think it's called Dark Futures. It's a store, an actual brick and mortar store that's out on the West Coast in the United States that has most of the First Hungarian Society's D20 Societies, most of their stuff in stock, and you can order the stuff through them, and they will ship it to you. And so if you're looking for as far as something like this, I think this particular one cost me like $10, and like I said, it was a great deal because of the fact that you absolutely I got a ton of enjoyment, a ton of ideas, and like I said, I mean, like 3 big long sessions of D&D and a lot of enjoyment out of the players when we did it. But anyway, so you do get this fold out map with it. You can see that's just one side of the fold out map. Here's the other side of the fold out map. Has the point-to-point thing there. Does have some wandering monsters tables here, but you can kind of see that. I apologize. This thing is not the easiest to unfold. Dungeon level 1, and then notice how like the dungeon levels aren't really hooked up. Every single spot doesn't connect with every single spot. I like that. There's multiple places that you can travel down in the actual cloister, and those will lead to different places. There's even like places outside, and they're kind of located like there and there there that will lead to something else as you crawl down. And then there's the deeper levels. And, well, that's still the hill one. Sorry. Here we go. And then there's even more levels there. So you have even more stuff that they keep traveling further and further down to like the third floor of the dungeon. And the whole time, I mean, basically, when my players made it into the deep dungeon, they did it while running away from the monks and preying on their minds the entire time was the fact that, oh my gosh, we got to get out of here. But then they also almost all said, if we're leaving, we have to go through the monks who probably are waiting for us, and that was one of those things where I do believe, and this is a complete aside, I do believe that like you should get rid of dark vision and night vision or whatever. Just get rid of that for your players, and then have them actually run out of torches. At one point the players were down to like 4 torches, and they were like, so we got 4 hours of light left. We have to leave. We have to go. Otherwise we're dead because we're in the dark. And that's, they fought their way out, of course, and which was a really, really fun and exciting session as well. If I had a couple of things I didn't like about it, I mean, the monsters are very themed as far as makes sense. Like you have this evil frog god cult that dabbles in cannibalism and necromancy and some horrible things, and then so you have some undead, which makes sense, and then you have these tombs and these crypts which have traps and more undead, which makes sense, and then like out of nowhere it's like, oh, here's some harpies, and it's just kind of like, and whenever you get into the ecology of dungeons, it's just like, well, why would there be harpies living down here? There's no food for them. There's no there's at one point there's like there's a crystal golem which like turns people into blocks of crystal, and it's like, okay, that doesn't make any sense either. Why would that be down here? So I did change some of those monsters into things that made more sense. I put a lot of frogs, a lot of killer frogs and things like that. I put some giant pools of water where these frogs lived. Gave those frogs kind of demonic powers as well, and just to make everything feel like it made sense, because I'm a big believer in that. I remember back in the days when you'd walk into one dungeon room and you run into a manticore, and then you'd go right across the hallway and you run into a troll, and it'd be like, well, why is that like this? I guess I want a little more verisimilitude than that, but if you wanted to play it straight out of the box, you totally could. I should mention that this particular dungeon, and I did know this, but strangely enough, I never really dove into it too much. It was actually located in the giant Rappanathic book that came out from Necromancer Games, or probably Frog God Games as it became known. But when they came out with the giant hardcover, I think I even did a video review of it years ago. When they came out with that, they did actually use the Temple of the Frog God. And I think they even mentioned this in the opening or whatever. Let me see if it says it here. Playtesters, frogs. Yeah, it says right here in the January 17th, 2024. This adventure model contains 2 scenarios. The monastery dungeons were originally released as a side module for Frog God Games' infamous Rappanathic, and are republished here. And the fated marshlands appeared in Echoes from Fomalhaut number 4, which is the Echoes from Fomalhaut is one of Fomalhaut, whatever, is this EMDT thing. So then he combined those 2 things to make this. So yeah, I mean, it is in a world of, and the thing is that if you buy this directly from the First Hungarian Society, I mean, they do have to send it from Europe, so it'll take a long time to get here, but they will give you the codes for the PDFs for it, which I don't read the PDFs, but I use them to print off the information and from what I need, or pictures that I want, or for maps. And if you buy it from a game store, and it gets delivered to you. Each one comes with basically, and I can find it here. It comes with a little coupon that looks like this. That'll tell you how to contact the EMDT people, and you will just get Gaberlux, the designer and the writer, which is pretty cool. But you'll contact them through that, and then just say, hey, I want the PDF. And as long as you have a account on, why can't I see as long as you have an account on DriveThruRPG, he will give you a code that will allow you just to download the PDF for nothing. So there you go. And like I said, it's like 10 or 12 bucks, and you could do so worse. I mean, if you're a 5e player, it's going to take a little bit of work to transpose these things over. I mean, to 5e stats, because this is an OSR module. But if you are a DM with your salt, I think you'll be able to pull it off pretty easily, and be able to transpose it over pretty quickly. And if you are somebody who plays Shadow Dark or Swords and Wizardry or Castles and Crusades or OSE or any of the other clones, Lamentations of the Flame Princess, any of the clones for OSR, this will be super easy for you to put over. But one of the best, seriously, I've been playing D&D the vast majority of my life, since I was 7 or 8 years old, and I'm 53, and this is one of the best dungeons I've ever read, and it's super good. So check it out, track it down, and if you just want to get the PDF, I think you can get it for even cheaper on DriveThruRPG. You can just buy that. If you don't want a physical copy, just get the PDF and you're good to go. If there's something you wish I'd review or talk about, I have a ton of these zines from Hungarian. I think I've got all of them now. If you want me to look at any of those and tell you my thoughts on those, or if there's another RPG you want me to take a look at, I'll track it down and I'll give you my thoughts. If you're so interested, just leave those in the comments down below and we'll go from there. Until next time, this is me, Undead Viking. Thanks for taking the time to watch us. Be the best version of you that you can possibly be. Take care.